The Spanish-American War in 1898 was a conflict between the United States and Spain that ended Spanish colonial rule in the Americas and resulted in the U.S. acquisition of territories in the Western Pacific and Latin America. The war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris on December 10, 1898. As a result, Spain lost its control over the remains of its overseas empire, Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Philippine Islands, Guam, and other islands. The war originated in the Cuban struggle for independence from Spain, which began in February 1895. Spain's brutally repressive measures to halt the rebellion were graphically portrayed for the U.S. public by several sensational newspapers, and the American sympathy for the rebels rose. But sentiment to enter the conflict grew in the United States when Spain's commanding general on the island began implementing a policy of reconcentration that moved the population into central locations guarded by Spanish troops and placed the entire country under martial law in February 1896. The growing popular demand for U.S. intervention became an insistent chorus after the unexplained sinking in Havana harbor of the battleship, the USS Maine, which had been sent to protect U.S. citizens and property after anti-Spanish rioting in Havana. War actually began for the U.S. in Cuba in June when the Marines captured Guantanamo Bay and 17,000 troops landed east of Santiago de Cuba. At the time, Spanish troops stationed on the island included 150,000 regulars and 40,000 irregulars and volunteers, while the rebels inside Cuba numbered as many as 50,000. Total U.S. Army strength at the time totaled 26,000, requiring the passage of the Mobilization Act of April 22nd that allowed for an army of at least 125,000 volunteers, which was later increased to 200,000, and a regular army of 65,000. On June 22nd, U.S. troops landed at Dacre, where they were joined with 5,000 revolutionaries. U.S. troops attacked the San Juan Heights on July 1, 1898. Dismounted troopers, including the African-American 9th and 10th Cavalries and the Rough Riders commanded then by Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt, went up against Kettle Hill, while the forces led by Brigadier General Jacob Kent charged up San Juan Hill and pushed Spanish troops further inland while inflicting 1,700 casualties. The battle call was, "Remember the Maine." Representatives of Spain and the United States signed a peace treaty in Paris on December 10, 1898, which established the independence of Cuba, ceded Puerto Rico and Guam to the United States, and allowed the United States to purchase the Philippine Islands from Spain for $20 million. The war had cost the United States $250 million and 3,000 lives, of whom 90% had perished from infectious diseases. The victorious United States emerged from the war a world power, with far-flung overseas possessions and a new stake in international politics that would soon lead it to play a determining role in the affairs of Europe.